So we've all likely heard the saying, uh, "There's two sides to the same coin," and especially over the last year or two, this is something that I've been understanding more and more. What having two sides of the same coin actually means. The biggest way that I have discovered and understood this is in how we interact with others, uh, how a human being interacts with another human being. And not just that on a surface level, but also why we act the way that we do. At its core, it goes back to how we were raised, to how our parents taught us to think. I am an avid believer that everyone is born with something that intrinsically makes them part of the way that they are. But at the same time, too, a lot of our behaviors, acceptance, and critical thinking about the world is taught to us from our parents. It is reinforced and ingrained, whether through active involvement or indirect and absent negligence. The reason that I'm bringing this up is that there are so many ways and things that people believe they are correct on, that are absolute truths. And to each of us, we are correct. We believe that our own opinion and perspective is, well, more or less absolute and is the way that things are, or should be, should I say. And as I'm saying this now, I know that someone will likely come around and say, well, everything that you're saying here and everything that your channel is your perspective, is your perception of things. And you are correct, yes. But at the same time, too, just as I believe that my perspective and that what I talk about is correct and is absolute, that it's a truth to the universe and a truth that we should apply to our everyday lives. To the individual who will argue against me, I will say you are also correct in your beliefs. There is nothing that I can do or say to change your mind, and there is nothing that I can do or say that will change your reality of this subject. All that I can do is express all of this and hope that people who agree will listen. And maybe some people who don't agree will give me the 10 to 20 minutes and just think about things a little bit differently, maybe. But two sides of the same coin. Think about any circumstance or any situation in your life. Whether you've had a love interest, wanted to be with someone and it didn't quite pan out, and you blamed yourself, or you got frustrated about it, or let's say that you're a car person and you feel very strongly about certain brands or this or that. Well, everyone who is in a relationship or seeks a relationship thinks that they are doing things the right way until they see something that says they aren't, or that they have actions reinforced to them that says they aren't doing things the right way. Well, relationships are part of life. There are some relationships that are meant to last. There are some people that are only meant to be in your life for a season. And there are other relationships that are there purely to teach you something to make you better for the future. With car people, everyone who buys a vehicle, regardless of brand, Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, Subaru, Honda, Toyota, Mitsubishi, any of these, everyone who buys a vehicle believes that they are making a good choice in some capacity. Whether it's the best choice for them right then and there, or the best choice overall because they have no restriction on how much money they can spend on a vehicle. Everyone who makes a choice believes that they are making the right choice. For an example, let's say that someone ends up buying a Toyota or a Ford, and they say, oh, I bought a safe vehicle. I bought a vehicle that's going to last. Well, that is their belief, and to that individual, they are correct. And comparatively to another vehicle brand that may not be as reliable or may not be as safe, they are correct. However, if you look at data, if you look at tests, and you look at vehicles that excel and beat the numbers year after year, Subaru is a magnificent example. The Subaru Outback is one of the safest vehicles that you can own. Any Subaru is, realistically. But the Subaru Outback is one of the safest and most capable vehicles that you can own. Compared to a Toyota, compared to a Honda, compared to a Ford. That is a statistic, that is a fact, that is something that you can prove. However, it can also be an opinion. You know? So, while yes, the person who has bought the Ford or the Toyota says that they bought a safe vehicle and is happy with their purchase, they are correct. At the same time, the person who bought a Subaru Outback and thinks that the person who bought the Ford or the Toyota made a poor decision is also correct. But they're also both wrong at the same time. Because the best decision that a person can make is the one that is best for them in the moment. And yet so much of our lives is spent comparing ourselves to others, is spent saying that we need to do this or think that way or whatever it may be. Excuse me. That we need to do that so that something. That is what society tells us. And because there is so much of this information, so much of this language out there, you will always be able to start something new and find people who agree with you. And inevitably, you will find people that don't agree with you. Take this channel, for example. People who stick around, people who listen, regardless how long this takes. Everything that I am talking about and everything that I say, in some capacity, people who subscribe and stay here agree with. But there's always going to be someone to leave a hateful comment. There's always going to be someone to say that they disapprove and they think that I'm whatever it may be. And both groups of individuals are correct in their belief. They just are. And because of how much information is around these days, especially with the fact that we live in a capitalist society, we create talking heads so that people who behave or people who look or people who speak in a certain manner feel that their opinions are justified and that their perspective is justified because there are other people out there like them. But the next component to this that really hurts and where damage starts being done is where those people go out and they start saying that other people are wrong because they believe differently. Or that other people are not correct because they have a different opinion about the same matter at hand. And yet, no party is absolutely correct and no party is absolutely wrong. Because 2, 3, 5 perspectives have been developed on a single matter, you will always be able to find people to support each of those perspectives. So, in some capacity, they're right, they're correct, they're believable. Where am I going with all of this? Why am I sitting here? Why am I talking? Why am I doing any of this? Well, I'm doing it because I want us to actually start talking again. To actually start communicating and finding resolution and solution to issues at hand instead of just yelling at each other and saying that, oh, they're wrong. Oh, that group of people is incorrect. Oh, because of fill in the blank, I am right. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. It's silly. So, I would like more people to sit down, find someone that you disagree with, find someone who does not share your perspective, and see if they're willing to sit down for 30 minutes, for an hour, for 2 hours. Put your phones aside, put your smartwatch aside, disconnect from everything, and sit there and have a conversation with other people, with someone else, or with multiple other people, either way. But when you hear something that you disagree with, don't just lurch at the opportunity for a rebuttal or lurch at the opportunity to add something on. Sit there and wait a moment. Let someone finish their thought, and then at the end, say, I don't understand where this comes from. Where did this belief start? Or sit there and go, I don't understand where you're at, and I would like to. Let me share with you my perspective on this matter and why I think that way. And let's try and understand where the other is. Because the more we do that, the more that we see both sides of the coin, I genuinely believe that things will start getting better for everyone involved. And that's what we need right now, more than ever. We need to look across the aisle, look at the other side of the table, look at the person next to you or across the road from you whenever you're driving around. Someone who has a different perspective and different point of view than you, and try to understand why they have that point of view. Or else we will continue and persist in making naive and misinformed decisions. So, last thing, and I'll leave it off. But every phrase that we use these days is double-edged. Every time that we have a perspective on something, we aren't wrong, but we're not right either. What I mean by that is, let's say that you're tired one day, right? Let's say that you don't want to cook or you don't want to go to the gym, right? Okay, well, sit around. Decide not to cook, decide not to go to the gym. But in the 30 minutes, hour and a half that you could be doing anything else, what would you be doing? Because every decision you make has impact like that. If you decide to go to Whataburger instead of going to the store and making the burger yourself, you know? The monetary value and difference, it'll always be there. There's always going to be some level of difference there. But in terms of the calories you're ingesting or the benefit that you're giving to your body, there is a significant difference. You know? Instead of sitting around for an hour and a half and doom scrolling or just watching YouTube or just playing video games, you know, the things that the vast majority of us do. Take that time and say, what else could I do with this? What could I do with this that adds to who I am? That adds to the person I am? Just think about that next time. Every decision you make, every belief you have, every perspective you take, there will always be someone who will be opposite to you. So why should we reject it if it's inevitable? So, as always, I hope that this makes sense to someone, that someone who is frustrated finds some comfort and understanding in this, or that this starts someone's journey of a different perspective on the world and considering things differently. Thank you.